Yes, they met. Yes, that was against William's wishes, but there was no sense that I'm getting that Charles laid out the red carpet for Harry.
Remember when everyone was talking about Prince Harry walking into the palace with that list of demands?
These two images from Meghan's mole side by side show why Harry looked so miserable on leaving Clarence's house.
Back then, it felt tense but still open-ended, like maybe there was room for a private truce or a slow repair. It was dramatic, yes, but it didn't feel final. But the new updates change everything. Now that insiders, legal decisions, and parliamentary movements have aligned, it's clear that meeting wasn't the beginning of negotiation. It was the moment Harry found out the negotiation was already over. He just didn't realize it yet.
Harry, who ended up apologizing to the king, not the other way round.
Public opinion is brutal. Memes are everywhere. Captions like "Harry came for..."
The Andrew title strip didn't just damage a reputation, it set a precedent. The security ruling didn't just deny his request, it rewrote the boundary of what Harry is entitled to as a non-working royal. And Parliament's renewed interest in title reform means the system is preparing to make structural decisions, not emotional ones. There's so much to unpack here, from what really happened in that private conversation, to William's quiet influence behind the scenes, to why Montecito is suddenly reviewing their entire public identity. And when you see how these new developments fit together, you'll understand just how bad the situation has become for Harry and Meghan. If you're following this story to the end, stay locked in and make sure you subscribe, because this isn't just a royal disagreement anymore. This is the crown drawing a line. When news first broke about Harry's private meeting with King Charles, the public saw it as a tense but hopeful moment. The story was framed as a son reaching out, a difficult conversation, yes, but still one grounded in family ties. Now, insiders say that was never the case. The meeting was scheduled, timed, and structured like a briefing, not a reunion. Less than an hour, no meals, no private walk, no soft gestures to signal emotional openness.
This meeting actually went for a much shorter period than what the rest of the mainstream media is reporting.
That wasn't an oversight. It was intention. Harry reportedly walked in believing there was space to discuss terms, security arrangements, public recognition, and the possibility of a gradual public easing back into royal circles were part of what he came prepared to raise. But the palace saw the discussion as closed before it even began. The emotional disconnect was striking. Harry approached the meeting as a son seeking resolution. Charles, influenced by the institution he is now sworn to protect, approached it as a sovereign dealing with a non-working royal making demands that clash with public expectations and legal reality. And here's the detail that changes everything. Insiders say Harry left believing the conversation was still in progress. The palace, however, considered it the final word. One meeting, one boundary, one door quietly closing behind him. What makes this situation worse than we first understood is when all of this happened. Harry's request didn't come in a calm moment or during a window where the palace might have considered compromise. It came right as the monarchy was under pressure to prove it could hold its own family accountable. The stripping of Prince Andrew's titles wasn't just punishment, it was a precedent-setting event. It signaled that royal status was no longer guaranteed by birth, sentiment, or history. Once the public accepted Andrew's removal without outrage, the Crown realized it finally had room to enforce boundaries. Then came the Court of Appeal ruling on Harry's security request. The court didn't just deny him, it stated outright that being born a prince does not entitle him to state protection if he's not performing royal duties. That was a legal wall being built brick by brick between Harry and the institution he once belonged to. And just as that ruling landed, Parliament quietly restarted conversations around modernizing title laws, not in a dramatic, headline-grabbing way. In a procedural, matter-of-fact tone that suggests decisions are already being shaped behind closed doors. So when you place Harry's demands back into this timeline, the picture becomes clear. He wasn't negotiating from strength, he was negotiating while the ground was already shifting beneath him. And worst of all, he didn't seem to realize it. When Harry first made the request, it came across as bold, maybe even assertive. At the time, people could still interpret it as a son trying to reclaim dignity, clarity, or a place in a family that had clearly fractured. But with what we know now, the tone of that request looks very different. Harry wasn't asking for conversation. He was asking for restoration, recognition, security, and positioning that align with someone still operating inside the monarchy. The problem is, he's not inside it anymore. And the crown can't grant those privileges without undermining every boundary it has just publicly reinforced. The timing made the request appear strategic, not emotional. Coming right after Andrew's punishment and just before title reform discussions, it now looks like Harry was trying to secure his standing before the system made its move. In institution language, that reads as someone trying to get through the door before it shuts. To the palace, that wasn't a request, it was pressure. To Parliament, it looks like entitlement. And to William, who is quietly shaping the future of the monarchy, it looks like a challenge to the structure he intends to protect. This is why insiders now describe the demand as worse than we thought, not because of what Harry asked for, but because of what it reveals. He thought there was still a path back, but the system had already moved on. At first, people assumed Prince William was simply staying quiet, letting his father handle the emotional and political fallout. The public read his silence as distance, disinterest, or exhaustion with the drama. But now, insiders say the silence was the strategy. William didn't need to confront Harry directly. He didn't need statements, warnings, or public gestures. All he had to do was not interfere as the system rebalanced itself without Harry in it. And that minimal action was actually the most powerful one. Because while Harry made his move from the outside, William was reinforcing the inside. The advisors who handle royal protocol, the private secretaries who direct royal agenda pacing, the parliamentary voices interested in modernization, these aren't Charles's natural circle. They're William's. This means something subtle but undeniable. The monarchy Harry is trying to negotiate with isn't Charles's monarchy anymore. It's the one being built for William's reign. One that is leaner, controlled, strategically quiet, and unbothered by emotional appeals. So when Harry asked for status, recognition, and security, he was asking a system currently being designed to operate without him. That's why there was no second meeting, no follow-up call, no soft landing. William didn't have to block anything. He simply allowed the monarchy to move forward, and it did. While Harry approached the situation from identity and legacy, Meghan's concern is steeped in public positioning. Her image, her projects, her partnerships, they have all been built around the aura of global relevance that comes from being associated with royalty. The Duchess isn't just a title in conversation, it's the foundation of her entire public brand. This is why insiders say Meghan didn't panic publicly, but she did take action privately. PR teams were instructed to review messaging. Branding consultants were asked what the California version of Meghan looks like without the Duchess framing. Partnerships that once leaned heavily on royal mystique are now being evaluated for sustainability, if the British side decides to strip recognitions or restrict styling. This isn't about embarrassment, it's about market identity. Meghan's power in Hollywood and philanthropy circles has always rested on a single narrative. She left the monarchy, but she is still royalty. If the institution removes the is, the narrative collapses. And here's the unsettling part. People close to Meghan reportedly understand that public sympathy doesn't automatically translate to cultural relevance. A celebrity without a sustaining storyline fades. A former duchess without ties to the institution risks becoming a recurring headline instead of an active presence. So while Harry is fighting for belonging, Meghan is fighting against disappearing. This is where the situation shifts from political to deeply personal. Harry has always been clear about one thing. Whatever distance exists between him and the monarchy, his children should never feel like outsiders. He wanted them to grow up with options, identity, heritage, and a sense of belonging to something bigger than the headlines. But the timing of everything now places Archie and Lilibet in the crossfire of institutional shifts. When Parliament resumed discussions around modernizing royal titles, the language quietly began shifting from individuals to structures. Not should Harry keep his, but which titles should continue to carry weight and who qualifies for them going forward. That subtle shift is devastating because it means the question is no longer about punishing Harry. It's about whether his children inherit anything at all. To the crown, this is about clarity and precedent. To the public, it's about fairness. You don't leave the institution and still enjoy the benefits of being in it. But to Harry, this is emotional territory. His deepest fear has always been his children growing up without a place in either world, not fully American, not fully royal. And right now, that future is exactly what the system is aligning toward. The hardest part? Harry can't fight this on sentiment. This isn't about whether he loves his children. It's about whether the monarchy believes they belong to it. And the silence from the palace on this topic is louder than any statement could ever be. Right now, two paths are forming, and neither of them leads back to the life Harry once knew. If Parliament moves first, the titles don't disappear in a dramatic moment. They simply become inactive, meaning they exist socially but hold no status, privilege, or formal weight. It's removal without spectacle, and it's the most British form of punishment there is. If the palace moves first, the change will be even quieter. No announcement, no statement, no confrontation. Just a midnight update to the royal family website. A shift in how official documents are worded, and a slow transition in how Harry and Meghan are referenced in state-adjacent contexts. The institution prefers silence over scandal, always. The security question is already settled, legally and structurally. The court ruling closed that door permanently. Harry cannot negotiate for what the law has defined as not his to claim. That means this part of the story is no longer emotional. It's procedural. And procedure, unlike sentiment, does not bend. The most likely scenario is gradual distancing disguised as respect. The royal family won't attack him. They won't rebuke him. They'll simply stop including him in the narrative of the monarchy's present or future. And for someone raised to believe that identity is inherited, not earned, that slow fading can feel more brutal than any public confrontation. So where does that leave Harry? On the outside of an institution that has already begun operating as if he is no longer part of it. The most unsettling part of all of this is how quiet the palace has been. No statements, no denials, no pushback. Because the crown doesn't debate once a direction has been chosen, it simply allows time to make the truth obvious. And time, right now, is on the monarchy's side. Harry believed he was walking into a conversation that could be shaped, changed, influenced. But he was stepping into an institution that had already adjusted to life without him. The family may still speak his name, the public may still watch his moves, but the structure, the part that matters, has already moved forward. And the further the institution advances without him, the harder it becomes to return. Not because the door is locked, but because it no longer leads to the same place. The monarchy Harry remembers does not exist anymore. He left, it evolved. There's so much to unpack in what comes next. How William's influence strengthens, how the public narrative shifts, how Meghan recalibrates, and how the children grow up in the space between two worlds. But what's clear now is this. Harry is no longer negotiating from within the family. He is negotiating from outside the crown, and the crown does not chase those who walk away. This is Hollywood Daily Reports, and this story is only getting deeper. Subscribe, like, and stay locked in because the next shift won't come in headlines. It will come right here in this community. Stay tuned.